Welcome back, listeners. Ron Serven here with the always amazing Cedric Edison. I know I've said that before, but
What's up?
he just keeps to get more and more amazing by the day that I'm able to communicate and connect with him. So welcome to everybody. You may have seen as you check into the channel that we've got a little bit of a name change. So as we've mentioned
hmm
before, in our efforts to kind of reach out, explore different kind of avenues to put ourselves out there and to connect with as many people as possible, we felt like it was a good time for a this official name change. So we're now called the Man Cave Experience, which I think kind of exemplifies more of what we're kind of getting into with our guests last time with Karen Caton. So kind of making it an experience with men in a safe place. So we kind of felt like a man cave is a great place to kind of invite people into. So with that, I just wanted to kind of bring you all up to speed on where we're at with that. And as we've mentioned before, we're going to continue to just, if we don't get feedback, we're going to kind of figure we're doing pushing the right buttons, making the right decisions on the types of other avenues that we're moving into. So, but we really want to hear your comments, if possible, on some things that you're interested. We're going to continue to reach out to the women, health coaching women, life coaching women, or just some other women in the world that would like to connect to us and to enjoy or experience this podcast. So, Cedric, you're on the other end of this line, and I know how far we are away from each other, but always feeling that true connection with you. How you checking in today?
Man, super excited. I'm trying to calm down, honestly, man. Just kind of took some big steps with like some social media stuff going on, videos. So I'm excited. So that's what's going on. But hey, I'm sorry, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to the new and improved show. Man, I'm just loving all the changes and the evolution, man. Having the people join us and we're being able to bring people onto the show. I'm just in a really good space today, man. It's just one of those just surreal days for me, honestly.
And we've had some conversations on this podcast or on this channel that we kind of thought a little bit more about and just kind of had some kind of a little bit of a direction or feelings of where we might go with the conversation. We've had the free flow conversations, but a really good topic tonight for us because I think we all kind of experience this from time to time. But Cedric and I are really in a place right now in our lives, me, kind of moving into the last phase of my career, into retirement and moving into this new coaching career, life coaching and health coaching. So a lot of uncertainty in my life, and that is our topic tonight. And I know with Cedric, he's been just doing amazing things over the past year and a half with, his efforts with the hurricane back in Texas and, kind of doing things that, some of us have never even thought about doing. So, but now he's, becoming a father, a lot of uncertainty in that aspect of his life, a lot of uncertainty around, his coaching career. We've had some conversations about just what we put out there, not knowing what to expect in return, but trusting the universe. So for me, just kind of checking in on that topic of uncertainty. As I mentioned, kind of where I'm at now with my career, and the life I've had up to this point, or most, pretty much up to this point, things have been very expected. Things have been very much, methodical. Things have been kind of in place with my job and kind of my living situation and all the things in my life. So a lot of comfort knowing that, everything that I'm doing has a direct, kind of result. But now, a lot of uncertainty with me and my coaching career, a lot of uncertainty, even with my wife and her, career. She's very challenged with a very high demand job. So, some uncertainty with, what might be next for her and giving her the best support that I can as her husband. Some uncertainty with, a 13-year-old son trying to be a good father, trying to give him the space to grow, giving him sometimes coaching, sometimes just listening, sometimes, kind of that, role model that is all necessary to try to give the best of myself in hopes that, the things that I'm doing are creating, little ripples in his life where he's able to, grow into that man that I know he can be. But a lot of uncertainty around that. We make decisions, we set our intentions, we focus our attention, with the hope of those intentions growing and becoming, kind of, fruitful in our life. But we don't know, and that can be a very scary place, and a place where people can go into depression, and a place where people can go into just that fear of not knowing what tomorrow might bring, or the fear of what yesterday brought to, a current situation. So for me, I really spend a lot of time and efforts to be in the present moment, but it's very hard at times to always, kind of keep that at the forefront of our lives, because life happens, right? Things come up, barriers become, evident, we get challenged. So for me today, as I speak with you, feeling like I'm in a good place as far as uncertainty, allowing uncertainty to be more part of my life. I think that can be very powerful. It can be, again, scary for those that are listening in that may struggle with, not knowing. But the more, for me, that I live in the present moment, really allows me to make decisions, to experience life, as it is, to realize the abundance in the moment, and to really create space in my life to where that unknown isn't as powerful as it once was in my life.
Mm-hmm. So, man, I was hearing you, and I'm just kind of curious, like, how has uncertainty changed you, or, how has it affected you in any way up until now? How is it, and I don't want to say how did it help you or hurt you, how did it help or hurt to get you to where you are now?
Yeah, I think before I would have a lot of expectations on the efforts that I made in my life, and would struggle at times when I didn't get any type of, more immediate results or feedback, or just kind of a result of some sort. So I think the more I've moved into, trusting the outcome, knowing that the things happen as they're supposed to happen, because of, kind of that the previous moment happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. So I guess just trusting the process of life unfolding for me. So it's allowed me to just be more, I guess, not struggling with, just the rigidity of life. Just, kind of feeling that I can flow and feel more of that energetic part of myself, and really feel how important that is for me spiritually, to be able to kind of not put so much attention on more of the physical universe. Obviously, we live in a physical universe, and we put certain values on that. So for me, I think it's really allowed me to kind of detach myself, not in a bad way to where I'm playing small, which has, been an area that I've had some challenges with in the past, but just to accept all of the things as they happen, and not feel that I'm a victim, or feel like I'm unlucky, or some of those things, like terms that people use, that they don't take ownership in, the situation they're in. So, so I'm curious, because I know I spoke at the beginning about a lot of uncertainty with you, Cedric, and I know sometimes you get a little bit under the radar. I'm going to be honest with you, being man to man here, kind of talking, holding your feet to the fire. So kind of share with me and the audience, kind of some of your challenges around that uncertainty, because I think you've gone through a lot, kind of with me and before me, as far as being in your life. So I'm interested to kind of see how that's evolved with you from maybe 5 years ago to today as we speak here.
Oh man. Um, well, 5 years ago, uncertainty wasn't even a thought of mine for the most part. Yeah, because that was about 5 years ago. At that point, I had the American dream. I had the decent, paying job for a single male, single, no kids, I was living a dream. The only uncertainty was when were they going to open up for another promotion type of deal. But now we fast forward, to like almost 4 years ago, coming out of my surgery and all that good stuff, there was a lot of uncertainty going into it, not even certain if you're going to walk out of it. Um, Facing that, man, that was tough. Um, and that kind of led me along this path. And now it's with the creation of a business and getting it started and creating new relationships and all this stuff. And you're solely relying on yourself. There is a lot of uncertainty. And for me, most of it comes in the form of fear of judgment,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm always worried about who am I going to piss off? Who's not going to like what I'm putting out there? And it happens in those moments of hesitation. And then I hesitate. And then that second for me to stop, it allows that whirlwind of thought. So that's kind of what it looks like, in my hard times when I am struggling with it, because I'm human. I'm a coach, but not super, and I have superpowers, we just talked about that, but, the reality, I'm still a human, so I have emotions just like everybody. And those are some of the things that tend to kind of hold me back or get in the way that could possibly hold me back further.
So when uncertainty kind of sets in with you and you become, I guess, a little bit more in that dark space of your life and you kind of play small, or smaller, where in your body do you feel that energy? I'm interested to, kind of, is there something that in your body you sense that kind of makes you aware of that feeling of uncertainty being more overwhelming in your life versus it being something that's maybe a teaching point for you?
Mm, Man, like honestly, thinking about that, I would have to say I'll get back to you and pay attention the next time. Because and I'll be honest, that's one of those areas where I'm not mindful. Some things, I pay attention, but um, I don't know, man. If I had to say, I was just thinking like it usually comes probably in my chest area because it almost feels like the breath is coming out of me, and it's just like, oh, it's just too much. Like, well, what are they going to think about this Facebook post? Or, well, what if I put this quote in, and what if this? What if that? Oh, well, what if they tell me no? What if they do this? Um, so yeah, and when I feel those, it's almost like that. You just, here we go. And just kind of slump over, I guess.
So when you work with your clients or you're talking with an individual that may be struggling with uncertainty, what words of wisdom might you give them to kind of get them on that road of recovery or awareness or mindfulness, as you speak about? What might be that first kind of nudge that you give them to allow them to create some space in their life for the understanding and acceptance of uncertainty as being a little bit more, maybe helpful versus it being something that might be very damaging or cause fear in their life?
Um, to get them to understand that it's one, trying to get them to a place to where uncertainty is good, and it's really a marker for protection. It's a marker of protection, and it's a sign that the body is doing the brain is doing what it's supposed to do, which is to protect you. And when we're trying to do something new, the brain's going to signal that, hey, this is new. Wait a minute. No, I don't like this. But we have to understand that it's a perceived reality. Um, yeah, that would be my first nudge. I don't know if you're looking for that, or like if there's like a certain sequence I would try and go through,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be my path.
Yeah, and I think from kind of what I, not necessarily experience, but how I kind of understand a little bit more about, the evolution of us as human beings. Genetically, we still have a lot of that fight, flight, kind of in our genes, to where uncertainty by nature becomes a little bit more, creates a little bit more anxiousness. So it's those butterflies in the stomach, or it's that, that kind of worst case scenario thinking, kind of preparing yourself for potentially what might happen versus, and in a good way or a bad way, right? We can anticipate something fruitful coming out of a situation, or we can anticipate something, very negative. So I guess, creating that space in understanding our evolution, that it is a very natural response to life. I mean, I think, that's still kind of how we are still evolving to the point where we can understand and accept uncertainty maybe at a higher level as we become more and more present, as we become more mindful, and we can feel that energy that comes over us in those situations dissipate as we, be here now, to be in this moment, to just be physically present, to be, emotionally present, to just be totally full into that moment, to where you can just be kind of like, just, wow, this feeling that's coming over me. I'm just wondering, where that might be coming from, to be a little bit more, kind of curious. I guess that, being, kind of not black and white, kind of being open to other possibilities, not just feeling like I've always kind of had to choose one or the other. I don't have this feeling or this feeling or this response to the situation. Maybe I can just breathe through this and allow myself to maybe learn a little bit more about myself, and to understand uncertainty to where it's not so overwhelming. Because I think and by all means, I definitely at times suffer from, that whole process of, getting in my head and not being present, and struggling at times. But I think my growth has been recognizing that, to not just, can think that that's the normal process to go through, to realize there's a different choice that I can create for myself by being more mindful and being more willing to allow uncertainty to be, a very high motivator for me to move or take a step forward in my life.
Yeah. Man, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wow. And I kind of have to say too that something that's getting or helping me along the way now is I've gotten more in tune with my higher power, with God, and and where everything comes is starting to come from for me now is biblically. And I'll tell anybody, man, for me, and even if you don't believe or whatever, the Bible is, just as a book, one of the greatest motivational books out there. It has some pretty cool stuff in it. But and I just remember one scripture saying something along the lines of lean not to your own understanding. But when we put that in it, like in our world, when you feel uncertainty, like, hey, we shouldn't worry about that. Like we can still recognize, hey, something's going on, but there's polar forces that's pulling at one another, good or evil or negative, positive. And sometimes the negative can create these thoughts. It could be coming from a negative place, but it also could be coming from a positive place, and just trying to tune in to which one of those areas it's coming from. But at the same time, if we're truly present, then uncertainty really wouldn't matter, because the more I tune in, then none of that other stuff that flows into my mind would matter, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like another one. It says deny yourself and follow Christ. But in that one, it's just saying, hey, deny. Like if you feel these thoughts, like the old you wants to hang on to it. So deny all of that, because you're searching for the bigger picture, right? So, hey, you're trying to live out your purpose and whatever that might be, so, and I'm not saying that for people to get in tune with a higher power, but I do believe everybody should believe in something greater than them. Because we can't do it. It'd be a perfect world if we did. Well, probably, it would be chaotic, actually. But we would try and do it if we could, So something's doing it.
And that's a whole big question, right? Uncertainty of that which is greater. And I really, honor, your, kind of input and allowing for the audience to, kind of look at their own, kind of situation in their life and trusting their own journey, not feeling that, they have to be, on a path that's similar to somebody else. It's like creating your own path, believing in your journey, honoring your journey, and allowing yourself to be that best version of yourself, in all areas for the rest of your life. And I think, just kind of looking at, you and I creating this channel, doing these podcasts, a heck of a lot of uncertainty there, right? And I think I think there's
right.
We get excited and we're like, hey, hopefully there's some, some people out there that like what we're doing. But on the next step, which we've talked more about, just the fact that we're spending time connecting, sharing, growing, kind of creating a relationship that we're able to really tap in and push each other to be the best men that we can be in our lives. So, I think that our willingness to, kind of be okay with the uncertainty of doing what we're doing. I think that's, a big step that both of us took, and something we never even would have imagined in our lives of ever even doing this. So I think that's, a step, just as an example that, others, not that you need to create a YouTube channel and put out podcasts, but just to, be mindful to, push yourself, in a direction, and being okay with, that end result. I think you have to look at your efforts and really how and when and the due diligence of, kind of creating that path for success and the work that goes into it, understanding where your attention is, in every moment of your life, in situations where you engage in, in a conversation, are you feeling, that your attention is there, or is there a lot of uncertainty where you're at in your life? Am I thinking about, yesterday or tomorrow, or, am I going to say the right thing, or, just, I guess, trusting that we all do our best based on our own awareness of the time, and that whole willingness to just be that vulnerable, authentic, person that allows others to be that same, kind of person. So there's not that wall that goes up, and then we create that disconnect, or you're this and I'm that and we're different. I'm a believer that, we are one. We are, there is something greater than all of us. And I think if we all kind of have that, I guess, presence in our life, and we allow for, even that's a big uncertainty, as I mentioned. That's probably one of the biggest uncertainties for all of us is, what life, what happens after where we leave this planet or this life, as we know it. None of us know, right? We've never been there, so huge uncertainty there. So, great topic. We could probably go on for the next half hour. But I think, it definitely is something that really kind of resonates with me, kind of when Cedric brought this up as an item to speak on tonight. I felt like it was a great kind of way to kind of bring in this whole new vision of the man cave experience. And again, the man cave is for anybody. We don't exclude anybody, as long as you come in with an open mind and positive intentions and want to, be in this space and this cave with us. You're all welcome. And we appreciate and love and so much, have so much gratitude for, I guess, ourselves initially, because, we've committed to this and we're, really kind of wanting to continue this whole process for a long period of time. In fact, Cedric and I joked about my son, who's 13. His son is soon to be born. You're how far out, Cedric?
Man, we have 10 weeks left.
So we've kind of joked about the next generation of the man cave as we become old men, and maybe there's an old man cave that Cedric and I still kind of hang out. The next generation, maybe my son and Cedric's Messiah, his son Messiah, keep building some sort of relationship or whatever that may look like. So uncertainty there too. But I truly appreciate the viewership of all you out there. Again, we do the best we can. We're open to any criticism you may have. I mean, if we say things or topics we talk about that just don't resonate with you, but you say, God, it'd be great if I actually heard some conversation around this. Speak up. Post a comment. Let us know. We want to do as much for you as we possibly can. And sometimes we feel like we're doing that if we don't get the comments, but we want to give you the best product possible. So, Cedric, how you feeling right now?
Man, feeling relieved actually. Like I say, man, most of the time, I don't think people. I hope people could actually realize that this is just coming straight from the heart. And for me, I'll be honest for you guys out there, most times when I'm speaking, I'm speaking to myself, or from a place where I've just come from, or I've gone through. And tonight was just another one of those reassuring nights. And for you guys listening, and I guess for the ideas, and I feel moved to present it to the ladies that may be listening in. If there's any uncertainty about giving us a topic, please do, by all means. It would be great to have a question that maybe we haven't thought of from the male perspective that maybe you guys will want to have, on the table for a topic. So it's just like, hey, we're in the man cave now. Hey, let's just hear what two dudes got to say about it. And just and on the topic of uncertainty, man, it's such a beautiful thing on the other side. I promise you, I can't stress enough like how beautiful it is. I just did it, faced one of my biggest fears tonight of going on social media with videos on my personal page. That was I can't explain it. I'm just, my cheeks hurt. They really do. And man, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, joining us on our journey of uncertainty around this show, and just so grateful, man. It's knowing just one person might be listening, but however many of you guys are out there listening, it's felt to the core. It's felt to the core.
Yeah, and welcome to the cave. I think it's really resonating.
Yeah, man.
As we're sitting here talking, I'm just and kind of with that new. Not that we didn't enjoy the man-to-man, kind of title of the channel, but the man cave. I think that just it's inviting you all to participate. As you feel best to participate. Whether that's continuing just to listen in, whether it's you watching the videos that we're now doing more a lot more of the video audio versus just the audios we were doing in the past. We're going to do a lot of just out on the field. Just I think we called it. What do we call it? Just kind of free, kind of free conversation out with individuals in the world. Just things like that. So really appreciate and really kind of have a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, just gratitude for your willingness to listen in. And namaste to y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Cedric?
Namaste. And enjoy the week. And we look forward to being with you guys next week.